Hey, what's up? I'm Jay Moss, and today we're going to look at a band called Birthright from the Baltimore, Maryland area. They're kind of like melodic, hardcore melodic punk in the vein of Touche Amore, that sort of thing. Definitely doing their own thing though. Band is awesome, dudes are awesome. What I kind of want to focus on in this video is little sneaky tricks I have where we can make one part sort of explode from the other. There's a few ways we can do this with EQ and with volume, automation, that sort of thing. So anyway, let's have some fun. Let's take a look and check it out. Okay, so the first thing that I want to look at is this transition right here. This is essentially the intro of the song, and it goes into sort of what's a first verse. It's tough. The song's kind of linear. It's not like verse, chorus, verse. There's a couple things I'm doing. The first thing we're going to look at is how we transition just in pure volume, just by automating our stereo bus here. This is a cheap little trick. It's really, really easy to do, but it's going to give us more impact here than we would have without it. Let's check that out. All right, so you might be thinking, okay, great, you automated the stereo bus, fine, but there's obviously more to it than that. We heard the distortion on the drums, the vocals were thinned out, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna look at that stuff now. We'll see how it all sort of plays together. Okay, so this is my drum bus, all of my drums, some here, and I created this distortion effect with this CLA plugin. It's just a CLA effects plugin. You can do a ton of stuff with it. Essentially what I did is I added some of the drive distortion. This is the most subtle of the distortions. Add a little extra reverb. That was about it. I brought the output down as well. And this is actually doing a lot too. This is totally a silly little plugin. It's just called the DJ EQ. But I've been using it for years. I just use it for like very, very simple low boosts or low cuts or high boosts and high cuts without getting all myopic about what frequency. If I want something brighter, if I want something darker, whatever, I'll just pull this up because it does it really, really quickly and totally works. Here's something to check out as I play this again. I've automated the low end out of this gradually right before everything hits right here and all of our effects turn off and that sort of thing. You'll be able to see the low end fade out here in just a second. What's up, my best Let's check that out with just the drums. That's cool, right? It's like really simple. We just basically made the drums kind of gritty. We made them kind of lo-fi. And then we just literally lowered like the whole mix down by a couple dB. So when that downbeat comes, a real impactful downbeat, the whole thing just springs up. It gets all the low end back. The drums aren't distorted anymore. Everything's way more impactful. There you go. Oldest trick in the book. You can use that all the time, especially before choruses. You can totally just like thin things out, dip volumes down really subtly and carefully, and then boom, presto, when everything comes back, it hits way harder and everybody thinks you're a genius. All right, moving on. Okay, so now I want to go the other way around. This is in the second song that we recorded. I actually want to go from a really like dense, loud passage, and then this passage here has more clean guitars, a little bit more nuance to it. So I want to get from really dynamically impactful and thick down here to something more like airy. I want to hear more of the details in the room mics of the drums, that sort of thing. So let me play it for you and then I'll show you what I did. So what we're going to see here is kind of in reverse. The stereo fader is going to drift down. It's not going to be sharp. We have that gap. So, you know, based on the composition, you'll be doing this differently. In this instance, I had a moment where I could kind of drift the fader down so it was less noticeable. And then you're also going to see that I bring the room mics up in the drums. The room mics just contain more like three-dimensional sound. It's not as impactful, but it's like really, really detailed. It just sounds like you're there, which I really like. And I think it really fit the part. In general, just a secondary pro tip or whatever, room mics have a tendency to get harsh, but you can really, really lean on them in tight hi-hat passages or like floor tom passages. Basically anytime the cymbals just like aren't banging away. So I'm going to play that one more time, just drums, so you can kind of see what I did. Okay, so we solo our drums, and then we're going to play this passage, which is like pretty dense, everything going. You'll see our stereo drifts just a little bit down. Our stereo fader drifts down just a little bit here. And we're going to get into this area. You can see down here where I keep my room mic group. All of a sudden, these room mics are coming up, even though our stereo is coming down. So in general, it's still going to sound quieter, but it's also going to take on sort of a different shape. Cool, and let's hear that in context with everything.
And now, you're never coming home. Something was comfortable when the airwaves told me you're.
Okay, so we made our way down, the room mics are up, things are feeling airier, but the song, the composition picks back up, it gets heavy again. So I'll show you, we did exactly what you probably think we did. We basically reversed everything based on the composition of the song, and we're gonna go back to full force. Basically, you're gonna see me automate the room mics back down to where they were for the normal mix, and you'll see the stereo fader go up, and it came out great. So let's check that out. Boom, right here. We're coming out of the part now. We went down here. Now we're coming back up out of the part here. We're going to use this little drum fill as a ramp to go back up. It'll sound exciting. And you'll see right here on the downbeat, right when all these cymbals hit, that's where we are going to drop our room mics back down to where they were, and should sound really good.
The music will ever be the same when my daydream fades to down.
So there you go. There's a few little tricks for you. This is a shorter video, but I thought I'd just throw it out there. I was working on this. I was like, this is pretty cool. There's a million other things I could talk about with this mix, but I thought it might be better to sort of keep these things like more focused and direct rather than me just mishmashing through a mix and being like, oh, and then I did this, and like, oh, and then I did that. So yeah, let me know what you think. Ask me questions, whatever, like usual. And if you want to know anything else about this mix, let me know. And I might just do more about this mix because I like it. So hard to say. And with that, I am Jay Moss. Happy mixing. See you next time. See you soon. Adios.
I really wish I could bury myself. I'm sorry, I learned so I so well. Locked in a place, I'm grown to hate.